Hey friends, this is T again with another reaction video, and today we're going to be doing a reaction on NERDROTIC, the Acolyte, a hilarious dumpster fire in space. Now I love NERDROTIC, all of you know this. I love watching his reviews, his podcast, all of the stuff, and I always leave a link to his channel because of course that's just being respectful, and I think you should also follow this guy. He is amazing. He is so funny and he gives you such accurate information. You know, some things that I don't even think about he'll bring up and I'd be like, oh man, he's so right. So I really love watching his channel, and I love doing reactions to him as well. Hopefully you like them too. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, but before we do, please like, subscribe, and share this video. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you know whenever we come out with new videos, okay? All right, let's get with it.
No! Okay.
Well, Anakin just killed a whole Death Star. How many people died on that?
I mean, the best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. It depends on what side you're standing on.
What are you, stupid?
People have been talking to me online about how Darth Vader is such a bad person. It's very clear, and it's very well established from those actions. But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people, I'm gonna get in trouble for saying that.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my god, I can't believe you guys did that.
Because I feel like Star Wars is very like patriarchal, so it was kind of cool to have like this.
What's so amazing about this is, right, these people probably never watched Star Wars in their life. I don't know about the guy, but these women, right, probably never read anything about Star Wars, never watched the movies. If they watch anything, it's because in preparation to making the Acolyte. But other than that, they have no interest, they have no information, they have nothing, right? But they got a lot of opinions when it comes down to Star Wars and what is behind it all. You know, George Lucas completely disagreed with all of them, but they all act like they're the leading people you need to go to find out about Star Wars. They try to explain to the fans what Star Wars really means, and that's so crazy, man. That is so crazy.
This sort of woman-centered figure.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I'm frankly into it.
I have to watch it again, I'm sorry.
That was the infamous interview, man, with that chick. I forgot her name, man, but it's just so ridiculous that they would, instead of just promoting the show, which is probably crap from what I hear, but instead of just promoting the show, man, they always gotta just go on all these tangents about stuff that doesn't matter. I mean, is there any gayness in the show? I never watched it, and I'm probably won't gonna watch it because it just don't look interesting to me. It's not the fact of people saying that it's garbage, that it's crap. I'll still check it out just to see for myself. But if I make that determination on my own from watching the trailer, then I just won't watch it. I just, not even out of curiosity, because I don't do reviews on stuff like this. And if this was something amazing and fantastic, maybe then. But other than that, I won't bother.
Yes.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Here we go.
Sorry, one more time.
Kathy gets a lot of shit online.
Yeah.
But I know that she was the one who made this show.
Oh, 100%.
Put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more fucking lame.
I am currently still shaking a little bit from receiving this video.
NERDROTIC.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million practitioners of common sense and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. It's that time once again. Disney has seen fit to dig up the desecrated corpse of Star Wars and defile it once again, assaulting our senses and burning, well, quite frankly, what's left of my brain cells with a brand new piece of Disney content from former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland, the Acolyte.
He always bring that up, and that's what I like about these guys, man, right? They always got to constantly remind you of who she used to work for, even though Star Wars try to pretend like they didn't have that knowledge or that doesn't exist, but they are constantly out there reminding you who she used to work for, and it's amazing she never got in trouble for that, or at least investigated.
Light has arrived. Now, after the punishment over the years that George Lucas's beloved stories received at the hands of the House of Mouse, how bad could it really be?
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
That was so terrible about the past Star Wars, man. The way they kill Han Solo and how they treated Luke Skywalker, man. You just can tell that they wanted to humiliate him. And the sad part is, I'm not surprised that they wanted to humiliate them, but the sad part to me is that Harrison Ford and Mark Hamilton was on board with it. That what was a heartbreaking part about the whole thing. They was on board to take these characters that people loved, that they worked hard to build, to just turn around and humiliate them. Just like Harrison Ford did, from my understanding, with Indiana Jones. It's just like, you know, back in the day, I used to hear celebrities talk about certain characters that they had compassion for. And even though Harrison Ford didn't like Han Solo, but he did love Indiana Jones. So I was really surprised when he let them crap all over him. It was a shame, man. I don't understand that.
This reminds me of the wise words my dear old departed pops told me the day I was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Son, things could always get worse.
He's not wrong.
A lesson Disney and Lucasfilm hasn't learned yet, but they will. Now, after they started the year announcing a Rey movie directed by Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, who stated it's about time a woman shaped Star Wars, completely ignoring the last decade of this woman shaping Star Wars into a perfect turd. Now we have...
You know what? This is the thing about women at the job force, right? I used to work with a lot of women at this job I did, right? And they will only hire the people that they liked. And I'm not talking about the men, because they worked in a little office just full of women. It was like maybe one dude once in a while, but mostly they will hire people they like. It's not because of their talents, not because they're great workers, nothing like that. It's because of people that they like. That's generally it. People that they get along with. They don't care about these skills. They don't care about nothing. All they care about is they get along with people. Because I can prove it, because one of the women that was hired, which wasn't hired by them, it was an older woman. And she didn't, play games with them, because she was older. She was in her 50s. She didn't play games with them. She just sat there and did her work. It was another woman, too, who did the same thing. And my boss did everything she could to get rid of both of them. And she was successful at it. Why? Because she didn't like them. They didn't play the same games that she would play, and she didn't like them. She only surrounded herself with people she liked. And I think Kathleen Kennedy, that's how her hiring practices are. This is my opinion, okay? I just want to say that I don't have any facts to back that up. I'm just saying, for what I can see, in my opinion, it looks like she just want to surround herself with people she like. Forget about the fact that they have talent or anything like that. But long as she liked them, as long as she's friends with them, or whatever the situation is, she don't care if it's a ruin in Star Wars. She just want people that she liked. And she gets rid of all the people that she don't like Gina Carano. She liked her first, but then she didn't like her later. So she decided to get rid of them and anybody else that opposes her. So that's why I believe part of the reason why Star Wars is failing. And another reason is the men that's allowing it to occur, they constantly lose money. What kind of men are they? I mean, are they really businessmen or what? You know what I mean? It's crazy stuff, man.
We have a completely different woman shaping Star Wars, and forgive me if I haven't mentioned this before. It's former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland.
I know what's going on.
The first sign of trouble was when something historic happened a little under 4 years after The Acolyte was announced. They released the first live-action Star Wars trailer to get ratioed, and they followed that up with the second live-action Star Wars trailer to get ratioed. And if that wasn't bad enough, then the PR campaign happened, and tell me if you haven't heard
the men in this, man, they look so soft. They look so soft. And I'm not even going to make a claim whether they're gay or not. They just look soft. And even a straight man can look soft, right? It's like they drink soy by the tons, man. They look so soft. It's nothing. If you look at the older Star Wars, right? Even Luke Skywalker had a lot of manly characteristics. It was the rest of them, man, in Star Wars that looked strong and mature, and you trust that they would know what they're doing, right? When they're going on the Millennium Falcon, or when they go into battle or something. These are the kind of guys you would trust to go into war with. These guys that look like, they don't look like they soldiers, man. And that's what Jedi were. Jedi Knights, they were soldiers. I mean, if you look at Arthur, you know that legend of the sword and everything else, right? He had a circle full of knights, right, of the round table, and they all were men, and even with the youngest one, he still was a man, and you can tell that these guys been through things, right? They face are mature, they have experience or whatever. But these people hiring on the Acolyte, these guys, they look so soft. They look like they've been sleeping on their couches most of their lives and drinking soy milk. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Drinking lattes. These guys don't look hard at all. Like they've been through nothing. Nothing. It just looks so weak.
This one before. Lucasfilm boss Kathleen Kennedy says a lot of women in Star Wars struggle with fan attacks because of the fan base being so male-dominated.
Hold on. You walked in on them. They didn't just appear. They were already there with Star Wars. Y'all walked in. Y'all was the intruders. Okay? Which she keep on acting like they own Star Wars. They walked in. They were invited in by the wrong people. But either way it goes, they the one that walked through that door. The fans always been there. They want the intruders. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy the way they talking about all of a sudden the fans as if though they were foreign or something, right? That they going through the border illegally or something like that, right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
After 10 years of the Force's female, if Disney Star Wars is still a male-dominated brand, I have to ask, what type of male? And they changed that headline from Kathleen Kennedy confronts Star Wars toxic fans. Now, the only thing that may be a little different about that is it openly comes straight from the top, but they weren't done. Series creator and former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland, stated she stands firm that bigots are not true Star Wars fans. I stand by empathy. And again, that's how they started the PR campaign.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And
even the reporters are soft, man. It's like, they handpick the people they allow. It's just like at the White House. They handpick the people that they can ask questions. Then the Africans are in the background. They can't ask any questions. Nothing, right? They just handpick the people that interview them, man, which is sad because they don't get no real information out of these people. I only saw a little bit of this interview, but the only thing I got out of this thing was that this was the gayest Star Wars. Back in the day when you used to watch behind the scenes or interviews, they'll talk about the spaceships and everything else, the creatures on it. They'll specifically talk about details about the movie. But this stuff, they just, and you can tell it's almost like mocking the fans, the way they taking it not serious. They just mocking the fans. They just making it out of a joke. And they'll keep on doing it because it makes them feel good. That's why I be telling fans, man, don't even get mad about it, man. Right now, it's almost like they just doing it just to piss you off. Of course, they're giving you material like NERDROTIC so he can make fun of them. But I'm just saying, man, they not taking this mess seriously. And it's almost like they going out of their way just to make fans mad. But I think at this point, fans kind of predict this stuff is coming. So now they're just making jokes about it. Say they don't care.
Not the gayest Star Wars. Not the...
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
You can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people. I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this right now.
You should just shut up.
It's just
shut up. I love
that
you.
is the beauty of this story.
Anakin blowing up the Death Star. It wasn't Anakin. It was Luke. What? Yeah, you should shut up. And she knows you should shut your mouth, man. You're talking too much. That's what I'm talking about. These people don't even know Star Wars. Anakin blew up the freaking Death Star? Come on, man. That just shows you right there they don't know what they talking about. And she right. Just shut up, man, and just answer the questions like you were scripted to do.
Is it going to be a talking point?
I'm sure so.
Because nerds are gay.
Well, some nerds are very not gay and are very threatened by gay
Well, that's
stuff.
true. But in
God, getting this guy kissed butt anymore. He probably hate his job at this point. Back in the day, it used to be exciting to meet the people that make these movies so you can ask questions that you're really curious about asking. But he can't even do that. I don't even know how they even enjoy going on these interviews anymore. They look like they bored. And, yeah, of course he gonna get a paycheck for it. But it's like now you got to sit there and ask a bunch of questions that, Kathleen Kennedy probably approved and you got to sit there and you know this guy don't even look like he cares being there. You know he's not a fan. So he just sitting there just going through the motions, getting his paycheck. That's all. And you know, that's not exciting to me. Because back in the day, years ago, when I see these reporters able to talk to musicians and actors and these people that make all these incredible movies, you know, asking real questions they really want to know about fans. I even seen it sometimes when I see like interviews when back in the day when there's some people that interview rock stars. They really was excited about meeting these rock stars and asking real questions. I'm not going to say the rock stars were really respectful in all these cases, but I'm just saying you can tell the reporters were really into it. But then you got the ones that act like, you know, they just asking the standard questions, like they just trying to get through it. And I think most of the disrespect come from the rock band is because they know that these people aren't serious, that these aren't fans, because they treat their fans differently. So you know, this guy, like, he don't care, and he just doing his job and it's boring, and they just trying to, you know, make light of a situation when they know this gonna bomb, and it did bomb.
My world, nerds are gay.
Perhaps our existence, you know, just like anything that exists.
What the hell's on her head, man? You know, as much as they freaking hate white people, because look, this is the impression I get, man. They act like they can't stand white people, right? But they do everything they can to try to look like these people, man, right? It is crazy. I mean, what is that on her head, man? It just don't look like something she should be wearing, in my opinion. You got to say that, in my opinion, right? You know, some people might say it looks good, but I don't think it does. I think she would look better with her natural hair. I don't care if it's short. I don't care what it is, man. But I think she probably would look better with that. That looks like a freaking wig.
Outside of the binary, the establishment can find that threatening.
And if all that wasn't enough to convince you that the Acolyte was going to be a giant dumpster fire, it doesn't help that there was a review embargo up until the day it was released. But I guess Rolling Stone didn't get the memo when they dropped their negative review. The Acolyte, this Star Wars prequel series, isn't a force to be reckoned with.
You know, that's surprising. And I think most people were surprised that Rolling Stone, which is a liberal liberal media, I believe, right? You know, I don't know if they will claim that or what, but everybody believes they are liberal, right? And usually they protect Star Wars or they'll protect Disney, you know, with the crappy movies, at least back in the day, which is not that long ago. But these days now, they just say this is crap. We can't even defend it. It's so crappy. You know, and now because so many these companies are closing down, they can't just sit there and just lie to people. I mean, of course, they hate the fans. Of course they do. They hate the fans. But then there's people on the middle ground that they can't lie to. People that don't care about the left or the right or whatever. They just want to go see a movie. And you can't constantly keep lying to them because they'll take your word for it. They'll read your articles. You're trying to lie and say that this is good. And these people go see the movie because they trusted you. And you find out it's crap. And then, like, after a while, they're going to be like, Rolling Stone lying his tail off now. You know what I'm saying? So they can't even do that anymore. I don't care how they feel about the real fans. They can't do that anymore because it's not only the fans that's watching this stuff. So they got to, you know, somewhat tell the truth now. Which I know was difficult to write this. I bet you was burning that person's fingers, man, typing this stuff. Man. But they had to. I mean, look, if they saying how bad this thing is, it must be worse than what I think it is, okay? Oh my goodness.
Even a veteran Jedi Master would lose patience with this latest D+ addition to canon, which focuses on a pair of twins, revenge, and falling asleep. A review they had to immediately...
When I heard about the twins thing, I was like, oh my goodness. I'd rather watch The Parent Trap.
Immediately delete. Then the worst thing that could possibly happen to the Acolyte did. They released it.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Yes.
The Acolyte is a murder mystery told from the perspective of the bad guys who couldn't possibly be the Sith that takes place 100 years before the Phantom Menace, where they clearly stated,
impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
In a Disney Star...
Well, here's the thing about it. Back in the day, the bad guys were the bad guys. The Sith were the bad guys. In order to be a good guy, you either had to be a Jedi or you had to be like Darth Vader. You had to, you know, be a good guy first, then become a bad guy, and then go convert back to the good guy. Because being a Sith was just generally a bad thing, okay? But now and I even think George Lucas started that tip too, man, trying to make these Sith sympathetic. And I don't know if he intended to do that, but now it seems like they're trying to make the Sith sympathetic, man. Like, they cutthroats, they killers. That's the reason why they go to the dark side in the first place. It's just like witches, man. They don't go do black magic to do good. Okay, it's called black magic for a reason, right? You don't go to Satan to do good, which they always trying to make Satan like you good, like that show that came out, trying to make Satan lovable and all this kind of stuff, right? It doesn't make any freaking sense. You go to evil to do evil. It's just the bottom line. You don't go to evil to do good, but they trying to make the Sith good for some reason. And if you erase that, if you're trying to make the Sith good, then what's bad? Then nothing's bad. But then again, they might be trying to make the Jedi bad. Because the Jedi fit more of a conservative type situation. So it's now to be rejected.
Star Wars show inspired by Frozen,
Let it go.
and Kill Bill if they were both fanfic created by a former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. Its worst crime is it's boring, closely followed by humiliating dialogue, which is equaled only by acting that would give Madame Web and those short independent films on the hub a run for their money. And
one thing I can say about the actors in Madame Web, at least two of the actors, right? They realized it was a dumpster fire. And you got to give them credit for that. They're like, okay, this is crap. Because, look, I don't know what's her name, Sydney Sweeney. She cares about the fans, I believe, right? So she's not going to sit there and be like, okay, this was good. She understands. I think she's been around guys. So she understands sitting there trying to make up lies and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to believe it, and they're not going to trust her anymore. And she rely on men because she is beautiful, and a lot of men like to watch her just because she's beautiful. But she's not going to make up lies. Now, Dakota Johnson, she, I think she just didn't give a crap. I don't think she cared about the fans or anything else. She just didn't care. And she knew it was crap. And after that, she said she's not going to do it again. It's sad, man. And at least I can give both of them credit for at least admitting that it was garbage. But these kids that Kathleen Kennedy hired for these movies aren't going to say that. They never going to say it. I don't care how bad it is. They'll never admit that it's garbage. And, I kind of understand it because they probably feel like I'll never get a job again if I say something bad about this. So they kind of between a rock and a hard place. So, but they'll never admit it though. And Sydney Sweeney get a lot of backlash because of how she looks and her acting capabilities. I believe because she's not gonna fake it like the way they want it. I'm not gonna say she don't do no fake things, right? It's Hollywood, for crying out loud. But I think this has something to do with her family. I think she just not gonna fake it like they want it. She gonna look after her own best interest, and I don't blame her.
Disney has reduced George Lucas's Star Wars into bland people in bland robes doing uninteresting things slowly. But
and it's George, in some ways, it's George's fault. He shouldn't have sold it to him. He should have let them do. This is my opinion. Okay, you can disagree with it. That's fine. He should have let them do a couple of movies first before he sold it to him. Because this was his baby, okay? He should have let them do a few movies to see what they were going to do with it. And then when he would have realized, oh crap, they trying to turn my Star Wars into something completely different, then he could have at least had the power to say, you know what, I'm not going to sell it to y'all. I changed my mind. But I'm wondering if he even had a choice. Because these days, I heard when Disney come after you and they want a project from you, they figure out a way to get it, if you know what I mean, right? So I don't know if the man really had much of a choice, right? But he probably did believe that they was going to do something better, or at least follow what he was doing. But, nah, man, that ain't the case.
Is diverse. There are many different types of lesbians. You would think it would star Carrie-Anne Moss, considering how much they promoted her in the trailers. Well, don't get too attached to her. Obi-Wan Trinity is confronted in a bar by a mysterious woman in a COVID mask.
Yes, my child.
Attack me.
with all your strength.
I know what you're thinking because I was thinking that too. Is she hitting on her? But no. After a fight that you saw most of in the trailer that's totally not supposed to remind you of the Matrix, Qui-Gon Carey collects a paycheck and dies. And this mysterious assassin with the COVID mask and the very distinctive hair is named May. She is on a clan.
Goodness. You know, I don't know what it is about when women get control of these projects like this, man. They, don't get me wrong. It's not all women. And when I say women, I don't mean all women. I just want to make that clear. But a lot of these feminists, okay, whatever you want to call them, when they get to these projects, it's like the stuff they do is just not logical. Don't make any sense. And Carrie-Anne Moss, she was smart just to take a paycheck. In my opinion, she shouldn't have done it at all. But she probably wanted the money and do Kathleen Kennedy a favor because she probably like, it's hard to get a job in Hollywood. If I do her this favor, maybe she'll include me on something on Hulu or something like that because they own everything, right? But, I think it was just a favor. But she didn't want to do the whole show because she ain't trying to do this mess. And the fact that they killed her so soon, I mean, it's ridiculous. I guess it must give her, this girl some clout, I guess. Say she's such a badass or whatever, right? But when you saw the Sith, especially like when you watch on video games, animation or whatever, when you saw the Sith, they were cool as hell, man. They were cool. Even though they were bad guys, they were cool. And you like, dog, man, I'm gonna buy this instead of a Jedi action figure, right? Because they were so cool. Just like Darth Maul, man, and Vader. They were cool, man. These jokers, man, it's like, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit.
Clandestine mission to hunt down and kill 4 Jedi, apparently in very public places with lots of witnesses, which turns out to be barely an inconvenience because she has a twin sister named Osha, the good twin sister who was appropriately named because she's a Mechnik. I hope she's up to date on her MSDS. She's a former Padawan who could put out sustained fires in the vacuum of space. Osha is questioned by Killmonger and Haircut Only and Jenny Nicholson, after being ID'd as her sister by the bartender after the assassination in the very public place with lots of witnesses. And I
wonder what acting school these kids go to, man. I wonder if they prepared them for this. I wonder if, like Kathleen Kennedy and people like that, have some kind of influence in these acting schools. You need to teach them, like you see these colleges when they, teach a lot of this liberal stuff. I wonder if they have control. Then they making these people like milk toast and boring, And that's probably a reason why a lot of these actors, these seasoned actors, don't want to have anything to do with most of these projects. Because it's like, they so boring. I mean, not just to watch, but also as an actor. I can't imagine you want to do anything like that. Usually these seasoned actors, they want something good about these characters. Just like when you saw Heath Ledger when he did Joker. I think the only reason why he wanted to do the Joker, not because it was a comic book character or because it was popular, because he can make it his own. And also, I heard he really dived into that character before he passed away. He really did. He wanted to get into the psychological, and he really wanted to get into the head of what the Joker would be like in real life. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to do, from my understanding, the comic book per se. He was trying to do what would the Joker be like in real life. Okay? And Nolan, I believe that's the way he was approaching it. And that's the reason why people want to work with Christopher Nolan. Because he wants to take something, even if it's fantasy, and see how it works in real life. Okay? So people can swallow it. So people can be like, okay, I can understand this person doing what they're doing. But with this stuff, man, that they doing with the Acolyte, man, none of this crap makes sense. So it turns people off, and that's what makes me not want to watch it. I love fantasy, but I love a realistic type fantasy, like the latest Battlestar Galactica that was made. I'm talking about the good one, right, with Starbuck and them, right? I mean, I love the fact that they tried to make it as realistic as possible, even though it was fantasy, and that's why I love this so much. I still watch it to this day, man. I love it. Okay, but that's the kind of stuff I like.
Can hear you now. Maybe May planned to set up Osha. No, later on in the show, we find out that each sister thinks the other one is dead. And this is where we find out that May started a fire that eventually killed her, the rest of her village, and because this is Disney's Star Wars, her mother's.
You lost your entire family. Your mother's, your sister.
This reminds me of something.
Home. My mom's.
Not at all secret gay agenda.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, and I'm sure Amanda Stenberg was hired on her acting prowess, but I have to admit, it is impressive that she can play two different parts exactly the same without changing her facial expression.
They're the same face! Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
Then we return to someplace familiar. No, it's not Tatooine. I know that's what you're thinking. It's Coruscant, where we meet Sol, the Jedi Master, played by the guy from Squid Game. He's also the former master of our Rick James-haired heroine, Osha.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Despite recently learning English for this role, and yes, sometimes it's hard to understand him, he's easily the best thing in the Acolyte. The bad news? He's in the Acolyte. The rest of the Jedi Council cast is rounded out by the insubordinate and annoying Padawan X-23 and the wife to former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland. Jedi Master Nepo, whose acting skills would fit perfectly in a Neil Breen film.
It's like these women just take something. Cause okay, I mentioned that I worked with these women, right, earlier, and they treated their office like they were home. They were drinking, they were doing their hair, they were doing makeup. It's almost like when women enter a space, and I'm not saying all women, I gotta keep saying that, but these certain type of women, when they get power and they enter a space, they turn it feminine to a point where you don't even recognize it as a job. And I think that's on purpose. It's almost like a personal playground or something. In like the acting, the real thing that you would see in acting. I was watching the X-Men 97, and you can tell that the person that made that show, they understood how films are made because of certain positions they would put and it was an animated show. And certain positions or expressions, the music and all the other things, right? How the cameras are facing, because there's rules with this stuff. When you go to acting school, when you go to film school, they teach you certain reasons why the cameras are set the way they are, the lenses, the certain type of lenses that they use, and expressions and things of that sort. There's a lot of details that go behind it. I learned that when I went to school. And I didn't even realize how in depth that was. But these people, it's like they just filming it. It's like they're in college or something. They just learning this stuff. And even though you want to say women should have the opportunities to make movies, you should start small and grow. And over time, over centuries, they can improve and get better, and they can be up there with the man, making great movies. And there are women out there that make great movies, directors and stuff, and producers. I'm not saying they don't exist, but these people, man, they need to start off small, though, because obviously they don't understand how to make a film.
Must be with you.
The first 2 half-an-hour each episodes of The Acolyte are absolutely filled with what we expect from D+, inane and or unnecessary trips to pad time, including our Jedi gang spending the last third of the first episode going back and retrieving their Jedi murder suspect that Shillmonger and Jetty Nicholson thought it was a good idea to leave unsupervised on a prisoner transport.
What I noticed is they don't use a lot of because Star Wars with George Lucas, he always creating these creatures, these aliens in the show, and he was always excited about the new aliens that he would come up with and the ideas he would come up with. One of my favorite things was with McGregor when he was in space, flying Obi-Wan, and these things were exploding. They would explode, and you didn't hear anything, and then you hit it. After that, I thought that was so cool when I first saw that, right? And it's still cool now when I see it, right? And even though those movies weren't perfect, right? But he would create certain creatures or whatever in these movies. And maybe they just don't have the budget to come up with this stuff. But it don't seem like they're too creative when it comes down to that. But what would you expect from this, right?
They managed to do pretty easily. Credit where credit is due. The Disney analytics know their customers well, and they know they won't be paying attention very long, so the tension is immediately lifted when Osha is no longer a suspect, because there's been another Jedi attack on Olega at the Jedi Union Temple Local 357. This time, May went after Master Torben, who has been meditating for 10 years.
Master Torben hasn't spoken to anyone in over 10 years.
Obviously, the first attempt to kill Torben failed, but not to worry because the security is lax at the Jedi Temple Union Local 357. Torben is played by Dean Charles Chapman, who you may recognize as Tommen from Game of Thrones. And he's got something else in common with Tommen. After 10 years in meditation, all May had to do was talk him into killing himself. And this all happened while the Jedi were talking in front of the temple. And the rest of the cast is literally rounded out with body positivity Padawan and...
Look at it. Look at that. Let me go back to that. What? What is that? What is that? Man, they in a temple, man. I mean, you could go to a lot of these monks temples or whatever they call them, and these people are in shape. You know what I'm saying? It's body positivity. Okay, this is so crazy, man. I mean, they pulled out all the PC for this, man. All of them.
The cast is literally rounded out with body positivity Padawan and Asian Ezra Miller, who's May's drug dealer. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the introduction of the big bad, Smilo Ren, who sounded like Stephen Hawking with bronchitis delivering a monologue written by a 12-year-old through a fast food speaker.
3 orders of wonton soup.
The Jedi live in a dream.
Oh, some fortune cookies too.
An acolyte kills without a weapon. If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail.
And by the end, everyone realizes Osha's twin May is alive, and May realizes Osha is alive. And if this is starting to sound like CW garbage, it's because it is. And after trapping May, CW. She blows dust.
Yeah, CW. This does remind me of CW too. I used to watch that back in the day when it was good, you know, with Smallville and stuff like that. But it just turned terrible after that.
In the face of Shillmonger and Soul and escapes. And so ends what I am told are the tolerable episodes of The Acolyte. And according to my good friends Alan Ng and Chris Gore, things get much worse, including in episode 3 when they confirm the Force is female.
I guess he stopped watching it after a while. So now people got to tell him about these other episodes. It's terrible, man. That's so terrible, man. I mean, do they got that kind of money? Did Disney got that kind of money? They just can burn through it like that. It's crazy, man.
Episode 3 of The Acolyte is going to break Star Wars with a complete redefinition of the Force.
That being said, I still have questions like, who knew that some female Jedi can take getting stabbed in the gut with a lightsaber, but all it takes is a little knife to kill one? This explains Qui-Gon Jinn, though. He obviously could have survived and just wanted to die. Why would you put multiple prisoners, including one suspected of killing a Jedi, in a transport guarded by one robot, piloted by 2 chairs? Why didn't the Jedi at the local 357 beef up the security after one of their own was attacked? And why didn't they cover the skylight? And why would you say this about a lightsaber?
This is a fight that you will not win. A Jedi doesn't pull her weapon unless prepared to kill.
When Shillmonger was using one as a flashlight later on in the episode. And who trimmed Torben's beard while he was levitating in a force bubble for 10 years? And where did his poop go? The world between worlds? How in the hell did Osha and May not run into each other at the salon? How did a fire burn long enough to roast marshmallows and porg on in space? And who thought it was a good idea to give the former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein, Leslie Headland, a show with a budget of $180 million?
That, you know, I heard rumors, people mention laundering. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nowhere in the world this cost that much money. Nowhere in the world. Godzilla -1 cost $14 million. And that was an amazing movie. It looked great. The story was fantastic. The actors were amazing. And you telling me this cost $180 million? Yeah, this woman learned something from Weinstein, of course, man, right? This, I don't know, man. Ain't nowhere in the world $180 million. You kidding me? What did that money go to? It didn't go to her hairstyle. I mean, these actors, I'm sure they won't demand the $20 million a pop. Where all this money go? The special effects didn't look that good. Where did $180 million go? You tell me, man. Please leave it in the comments. Let me know. Because I don't see $180 million for nothing like this. Really? And I didn't even know they spent this kind of money on series anyway. I mean, did The Mandalorian cost this much? I mean, man, somebody getting paid, man. That's all I'm saying.
with an audience score that's currently sitting at 27% and a completely predictable 92% from the media shills, with their lips firmly pressed on the corporate teat. This is a phenomenon we've known about for a long time, but it seems others are catching on.
Critics are less relevant today than at any time in human history. They're off so much more than they're on. I just don't understand why they're still employed. I mean, what is the purpose that they serve other than speaking to other completely disconnected, supposedly highbrow people that live in congested urban areas?
Yeah, and I think also that critics, and I don't know why,
they probably hate Joe Rogan the most, because even though they can like say all these other people like NERDROTIC aren't legit, or any other YouTube critic, they can't say that about Joe Rogan, because people take him very seriously. Just to be on the show is a come up, period. Like this dude right here, Taylor Sheridan. His Yellowstone show is excellent. You definitely need to watch it, man. This guy's excellent. He know how to make a show. And if Kathleen Kennedy hired somebody like this, I doubt if he would have needed $100 million to make a decent show. I doubt it. But that might be the reason why they continue, because people keep asking, how can Disney keep on making these movies and they keep failing, yet they keep making these movies? And my opinion is somebody's getting paid. Somebody's making this money. Spending $180 million on these shows that aren't worth a damn. Somebody's getting paid and they don't want to stop getting paid. That's just my opinion. I don't have any facts to back that up. It's just a gut feeling that I feel. Somebody's getting paid, because this makes no other sense for you to keep on making these crappy movies. It don't make any sense.
but they seem to feel a need to judge any project by how is it looking at the lens through today's new question morality. What should we be making movies about? And you can make a shitty movie about something that they support, and they're going to support that movie.
No shit.
And with that, let's go to the people, starting with Brett S., 1 star. Okay, I will admit my expectations were probably too high for this. They were. But wow, does this underwhelm. It doesn't know what it is or what it wants to be. If I could at least see the vision, I would give it the benefit of the doubt, which you should never do with Disney Star Wars. What an absolute mess. Show you.
You know what? I had my doubts before Godzilla -1. But when I found out that they made that movie for $14 million, I was like, somebody's getting ripped off, man. And somebody's allowing it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's getting ripped off. But guess what? It's not the fans. I'm going to tell you that right now. It might have been the fans at the beginning, but it's not the fans anymore because nobody paying for it. You know what I'm saying? Goodness. I'm about to end my my Disney Plus, because the only thing that keeping Disney Plus right now is Hulu, because I got it with Hulu and I'm watching Shogun. And I want to finish that before I cancel, right? Because that's a good freaking show. Now, if you told me that show was worth $180 million, I would believe it. I would believe it. Even though I still don't think necessarily that they need that kind of money to make a show like that. But if you would have said, if any show that was worth that kind of money, it would be that show. It wouldn't be The Acolyte.
And for 2 stars, the story is confusing. Amanda Stenberg plays twins the same, so it adds to the confusion. The pace of the show is very slow with unsatisfying payoffs. The Jedi world in Acolyte is the same as the one in The Phantom Menace, which seems odd considering the series is supposed to take place 100 years before The Phantom Menace. Ahsoka was a much better series. Oh, that was a low blow, show you. Half star, the show absolutely breaks.
I tried to do reviews for Ahsoka, man, but I had to stop, man. It was just getting so bad. And I was excited about it too, man. Even though Disney was dropping the ball, I still was hopeful with Ahsoka because I really liked that character in the animated series, in the Clone Wars. I really liked that character. But I couldn't even continue doing reviews on that tip, man. I just couldn't do it.
Canon, the soundtrack is unbearable, which really takes the soul out of the show. Not that it has any anyways. I will say I do like the character of Soul, but other than that, it's a bland and basic show which doesn't feel like Star Wars. Similar to most Disney Star Wars projects, nevertheless, maybe my opinion will change when the other episodes are released. I highly doubt it. Eric.
You know what? The way these people are writing this stuff is as though they haven't realized this sooner? Everybody already know that this is no longer Star Wars. I mean, I caught on to that a long time ago. I mean, yeah, of course, people had hopes that they would change and try to get people that understand Star Wars, but they never did. But it wasn't a surprise that, you know, that they really wasn't following George Lucas' vision about what he wanted for Star Wars. He probably had some future ideas that he just flushed down the toilet by selling it to Disney. Now he has no control. And now I'm hearing rumors that he might not be coming back to Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? They making too much money. Not from ticket sales, I can tell you that. But, you know, they getting paid. They getting paid. Okay? So why stop? Why stop? Unfortunately, it might be the death of Disney. Unfortunately.
C for a half star. I simply can't understand how Star Wars has been allowed to fall so far. Bad writing, bad casting, cheap look and feel despite massive budgets. Simply does not feel like Star Wars in any way.
None.
This was not made for the audience that grew up loving the franchise. No. David H. half star.
Matter of fact, I would argue they're trying to get rid of the people that loved Star Wars. They're trying to get them out and replace them with, you know, people that not even interested in Star Wars. Which another thing that doesn't make any sense. Like I said, man, this is a money thing, man. It ain't about even creating anything that anybody like. It's just having some excuse to spend all this money. Because somebody's getting paid. Somebody's making that money.
Reading the reviews just after I watched episodes 1 and 2, it's just poor. Every scene is too clean. Clothes clean. Even the dirty rooms are clean. There is a scene where a fire breaks out in space. It feels like it was all filmed at Disneyland. Carrie-Anne Moss, underused, has no emotion at all. The rest of the cast, poor acting and poor story. I did give it a chance. I will watch episode 3 and 4. It has to improve. There has to be more. And again, the first two...
Yeah, it's like these people living in delusion. I mean, they hopes are sky high. They really think that they really trying to make something that people gonna love. And that's just not the truth. I don't believe it. I don't believe that's even a point at this point that they trying to make anything people love. Usually, like if you see R.R. Martin, that's involved in the Game of Thrones and the new House of Dragons, I think the only reason why it's as good as it is because he's involved. The people that literally created it, and that's why I think George Lucas messed up. Now, if he didn't give a crap, if George Lucas didn't care, he was done with Star Wars and he sold Star Wars, okay, fine. You know what I mean? He go retire and do whatever he wants to do with his wife or whatever the situation is. But it seems like these days he care that they destroying it. He should have kept some type of control over this thing. He should have. Just to test it out. But he trusted Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger. For some reason he trusted these people. And they just crapped on him, and they disrespected his dream, the thing that made him billions of dollars. These characters, he loved it. You can tell when he do these photo shoots with Baby Yoda and these characters. You can tell that it meant something to him. It's just like the guy that did Kermit the Frog and all that kind of stuff. He'll do these photo shoots with Kermit the Frog or Miss Piggy and all that kind of stuff. He loved doing it. It's certain people. Mr. Rogers enjoyed doing his job. He really loved doing his job. But the people that took over, the people that they keep selling the stuff to, man, don't give a crap. All they care about is draining the teeth dry. That's all they care about, is taking that money, because they can't make it on their own. So they got to take a project and then just drain it, because you know they ain't doing this just for pleasure. Even though they might be getting pleasure out of it, they getting something out of this, and I think it's money. So they don't care about the project. They just want to get paid. They ain't gonna use any excuse to make that happen. I work with people that just couldn't give a crap about the job, but they did all this crap so they can get paid. And I don't mean in a legit way either. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about some underhanded things that were going on. It's sad, man. I mean, if you're a janitor, maybe that's not a big deal. But when you're in charge of something like Star Wars and George Lucas film, like Kathleen Kennedy, you can't have nobody like that. You know what I'm saying? Run this into the ground like that. I mean, screw the fact that this is Star Wars and people loved Star Wars. Forget that. This is business, man. And it's crazy that they allowing all this money to get wasted like this. It's crazy.
2 episodes were supposed to be the tolerable ones. And going back to my dear old dad's warning, things are going to get worse, including 2 moms conceiving twin girl force users.
So it's a coven of lesbians that make 2 twins that they're going to indoctrinate into the power of the thread, which is their interpretation of the Force.
And pronouns in live-action Star Wars. But don't get down because this isn't sad. Don't bother getting mad because it's hilarious. Comedy isn't dead because we are currently living in the best unintended comedic era in Hollywood history, thanks to Disney. And I truly appreciate Lucasfilm leaning into the South Park meme because The Acolyte is both lame and, as former personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein Leslie Headland admitted, gay.
Are you excited about that?
NERDROTIC.com.
Oh man, this is so crazy. It's sad, man. It's really, 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 really sad. Okay, you know, you don't purposely sabotage something unless you're trying to hide something. Okay, you know what I mean. Right now, this is past business, and you see all these guys that making tons and tons of money. Can't figure out why these people are destroying good products. They can't. They like, why are you doing like the stuff that's going on in New York and all these other places? They just destroying everything, man. But it had to be, to me, in my opinion, it had to be some kind of distraction because there's just something else going on, something that is not right. You know what I mean? And that's why they want to keep it going, because certain people are getting paid, and that's what I truly believe that, and I believe that's going on with Star Wars and Disney. Is they make more money personally. And I'm talking about personally. I ain't talking about for the company. I'm talking about personally for themselves. When you see stuff like this, all of us work jobs when you can tell that it's a lot of, you know, crazy stuff going on behind the scenes. That, you know, they're not trying to make money for the company. They're just trying to make money for themselves. And everybody experienced that if they worked in the workforce long enough to see this kind of thing. And I've seen it. I've seen supervisors and bosses doing some underhanded crap so they can benefit from it. They don't care how much money they were losing for the company. And a lot of the time, these companies will allow it to happen because who knows what they're doing. So, and I feel like this is the same situation, man. It's terrible. And Disney going to pay for that. They really going to pay for that. And it's their fault. And now George Lucas probably regretting all this, that he sold it to him. And hopefully in the future, more people that have this kind of, like R.R. Martin, or what's her name? The woman that do Harry Potter. I keep forgetting her name. What's her freaking name? I forgot her name. Anyway, they maintain control over their projects. They don't let them go because they realizing if you sell it to the wrong people, they'll just destroy their legacies. They'll destroy it. George Lucas is learning that right now. And it's sad because he created something incredible. He did. He created something incredible. And now he get to sit back and watch it burn to the ground. It's sad. Very sad. All right. I really appreciate all of you coming by. Definitely, I'm going to leave the link below. That way you can watch it uninterrupted. And also, please subscribe to this guy, man. He's great. He's fantastic. I love his work. Love his work. You know, I would love to be like him, but that's just not going to happen. But I do my best. I got something to strive for. Let's just put it that way, okay? And I'll just do my best to get as high as I possibly can. But I can't do it without your help. So please subscribe and please like, okay? And if you have any comments about what I said or you agree or disagree, please leave a comment. I really would appreciate it because eventually I usually get to my comments, all right? Okay, thanks again for stopping by. This is T and Peace.